All right, continue the conversation. A big story yesterday. Obviously, it exploded. It's international news because a Michigan judge just slammed the door right in the face of Dana Nessel, basically saying I believe that they were executing their constitutional right to seek redress, said Judge Kristen D. Simmons, a district court judge in Michigan, a Gretchen Whitmer appointee, slamming the door on this witch hunt against 15 people, farmers, retirees, teachers that were just, signed their name to be an alternate slate of electors in 2020. One of the winning attorneys, David Kallman, his client, Hank Choate. David, welcome back to the program. A lot of these clients or defendants or whatever, these people are in their 60s, 70s. I think a couple were in their 80s. These are not criminals. They're people that thought they were doing their civic duty. And Dana Nessel attacked these people for 2.5 years, spent millions of dollars of taxpayer money to get the door slammed in her face, which I kind of enjoyed. Tell me about yesterday for you. Were you surprised?
No, I can't say I was surprised. I was gratified and pleased that Judge Simmons followed the law. This was a clear-cut case. Steve, people need to realize how rare it is at this stage of a criminal proceeding to get the case thrown out. And it almost never happens. It's at a preliminary exam, it's called. The Attorney General only had to show probable cause that a crime occurred, and they couldn't show that. And Judge Simmons, I have to hand it to her. She followed the law. She listened to the witnesses. She had it down, and she gave a great opinion.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Dana Nessel came out yesterday, and man, did she look mad as a hornet's nest that got kicked. She stood right out there and said they committed criminal acts. She doesn't seem to care that the judge made this ruling. She seems to think that, her opinion's more important than the judge's. And so I have to ask, because I've, hearing from Matt Maddock, Meshawn Maddock's husband, who's a member of the state house, said they're going to be filing both criminal and civil lawsuits as a result of this. I don't know how you go after a criminal, pursuit, but okay. What is your client? Your client's just a farmer, right, from southern Michigan, didn't do anything wrong that he was aware of, got dragged into this whole mess. What's the next step here?
Yeah, Hank Choate has just been a great client, and he's solid rock, salt of the earth kind of guy, Steve. I mean, he's never been in trouble. He's 75 years old, raised a great family, has a dairy farm. He just does a great job. And here he is, hauled into court as if he's some kind of common criminal over a political dispute. And that's what this was. People need to understand this was a political persecution. This was the Attorney General deciding to go after her political enemies and use the law to do it. It's reprehensible, and you bet we're going to be looking at options for malicious prosecution and, frankly, Steve, defamation yesterday. I mean, Attorney General Nessel called my client's name out. She stated his name and called him a liar to the public, and then claimed that he's still a criminal. Steve, it'd be like, if you're charged with murder and you go through this process and the court throws the murder charges out and the prosecutor stands up and say, I don't care, he's still a murderer. I'm sorry, I think that's pretty defamatory. So we're going to be looking at a lot of possible civil remedies for our client. You can bet on that.
So here's my question. When it comes to the law like this, who's liable? Is it the Attorney General that's on the hook personally, or does the state of Michigan and the taxpayers get to pay the bill for her shooting off her mouth?
Well, that's a good question. It depends on how the lawsuits are handled and brought in the future. It could be both. It could be the taxpayers on the hook because of Attorney General Nessel's actions. And that's why we have elections, and that's why people get voted in and out. But it also could be personal liability. Defamation would be personal liability. And so those are important things. And it's interesting too, Steve. I think people need to understand when Judge Simmons ruled yesterday, there were 8 felony charges against all of these electors. She threw out half the charges on a very simple, basic point, which is the uttering and publishing and the forgery charges that the Attorney General brought are property crimes. They're not election law violations. They're property crimes. And the judge saw that and threw those out without even any more discussion. and then just went to the final remaining charges and emphasized the intent and that it was crystal
Then
clear.
how
from
on
all the
earth?
evidence.
I mean,
Yeah.
this case, looking at it yesterday with Judge Simmons, looks like it was pretty cut and dried. Boom.
Yes. Yes.
Why in the world would it take 2.5 years and all of this angst for your client, for Michonne Maddock, for Marion Sheridan, who's coming up here in a minute on the program, and all of these folks to be put through the ringer on this, the stress, the sleepless nights, the money spent on attorneys like yourself to defend themselves against baseless charges? How could it take 2.5 years?
Well, that's part of the problem with the process, Steve. And when you have 15 defendants and you have a tiny little courtroom in Lansing, I don't fault the judge for that at all. You can't try 15 people all at the same time. So they had to break them into groups. And we had 3 different groups of electors that held their preliminary hearings at different times. And and our hearings alone lasted 7 days. The other hearings, I think one went 5 or 6 days and the other went 3 or 4 days. So total all that up, that's a lot of court time. And then, of course, we had 1,500 pages of transcripts that we had to go through and then file our briefing. And the judge had to pour through briefs I feel sorry for her. She had to read 15 lawyer briefs, Steve, plus the AG's briefs on top of it.
Trust me, I feel sorry for her too.
That's a lot of material to go through.
For your client, though, big day, big relief, big win. I mean, he's got to feel pretty good, right?
Oh, I couldn't be happier for Hank. Like I said, he's such a solid guy, and I'm just elated for him. That's all I can say. One of the best feelings I've ever had in a courtroom was yesterday morning, Steve. I got to say.
That's good. So, all right. So the process now: malicious prosecution, defamation, libel, whatever. What's next? How long does the next step take? And what do you think? I mean, the problem with these lawsuits, I'm familiar with them a little bit. Been involved in some things here and there. They take forever. It's a process. That's what it's a process. I hate that, by the way. Anyhow, it's a process. But when do you think it would happen? I mean, I don't think Michonne Maddock's going to wait very long to file suit. I'll tell you that.
No, we'll wait and let the dust settle a little bit. But I could see within the next, 30 to 60 days, lawsuits starting to get filed. No question.
Yeah. All right, Dave. Well, congratulations. It's a big win. And it's a win for the rule of law is what it is to me. It's a win for the rule of law and to bring in I'm just going to call it what appears to be a rogue attorney general whose only impetus is to sharpen her political axe. I mean, what else could it possibly be? I got to leave it there, David. Always a pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Always great to be with you.
Greatly appreciate it. There you have it. All right, Marion Sheridan, one of those defendants until yesterday. She'll join me here next on the program as we bring it all home to you here on the Steve Gruber Show.